Hi folks, my name is Manoj and I'm the founder of My Whiskey Barrel. I'm a pharmacist by profession and I naturally get drawn towards, experimenting, exploring, finding out new things and researching on stuff that, I get interested in. Having lived near bourbon country for, almost 15 years now, I've been researching, trying to find, reading about bourbon, the history, the heritage, trying to find more, and I have come across some very, very interesting facts and very interesting products that I would like to share. So bourbon is America's native spirit, just like Scotch is Scotland's native spirit. While researching more about bourbon, I came across a very interesting fact. And that is that Scotch, most of the major brands like Glenlivet, Glenmorangie, Ardbeg, Johnnie Walker, they age their spirits, meaning Scotch, in used bourbon barrels. Now, for bourbon to be called as bourbon, obviously it has to be made in the United States. The second most interesting fact about bourbon is bourbon has to be aged in virgin barrels, meaning once you raise the barrel, it's called raising of the barrel, when they put all the staves together, like a barrel has like tiny staves. When they put all the staves together, well, not as tiny as this, because the regular commercial 200 liter or 53 gallon barrel has like wider staves. Now, when they put the staves together and they make a barrel of barrel shape, it's called raising of the barrel. So the fact is that bourbon, for it to be called as bourbon, has to be aged in new barrels. When bourbon is aged, normally it's aged for 2 to 3 years based on, the flavor you like and, how robustness you like in your flavor and all that. Then after that, those barrels get exported to Scotland, where the Scotch that us most Indians come to know of and like and appreciate and patronize, is where Scotch is aged, in the used bourbon barrels. Few other interesting facts about different whiskeys are like bourbon, you have to have at least 51% of corn in the mash. Scotch whiskey has to have certain amount of barley in there. Irish whiskey has to have a certain amount of rye in it, and so based on the native crops, they decided to have a certain amount that they need to use. So it is beneficial to the local farmers and people who depend on these kind of crops for their livelihoods. But most whiskeys are whiskeys, right? I mean, you use any raw material, any ingredient, ultimately you have to distill it to get ethanol, which is ethyl alcohol. And it may carry some flavors, like based on the origin and the mash type and the water that is used, because when they distill, almost 80-90% of it is ethanol. Only 10% maybe some, condensed water that passes through and, gives aroma or flavor maybe to an extent to the whiskey. But most of the flavors that whiskey acquires is from the wood that it is stored in.